Hey my friend, Jonah here, and welcome to Linesman Media. Now, I'm still adjusting some things with how I do the process of these videos and so forth, so things may be a bit different from video to video. And also, right now I'm also currently adjusting the microphone because I know the sound hasn't always been the best, so I'm trying to make sure that it's better somehow, so that at least it's hopefully clearer and so forth. So I'm playing with a bit of settings and seeing if that helps at all. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's on to today's topic. So I wanted to talk about the difference between the underdog and the victim. And now, just as a disclaimer, this will mostly be about the mindsets, because we see a lot of this mindset of either being an underdog or being a victim in the world today. And it's kind of important to life that we kind of address the mindsets, and what better way to do it than to really tell it through stories, which leads into the first question of who do we tell stories about? And stories have a way of telling of culture and also transcending culture in a way. It kind of can tell of universal values and so forth, or what values a culture holds dear. And the thing is that most of the time, while the victim may be a trigger for the story, they rarely are the protagonist. It's like most crime dramas. Who are you following? The protagonist. You aren't following the victim of the week. You are following the detectives or whoever trying to solve the mystery, or finding out the victim's story, and also all those subplots that carry over week from week. But it didn't, unless it's like a video where they're telling it through a different format. It's basically just, and that can be an artistic thing, but again, it's mostly about the detectives. And even then, with that one video, they'll probably take the play. They'll probably go back to the usual plot in the next episode. Yet, on the other hand, everyone loves a good underdog story. It's like one of those stories that never grows old, even though it's so general. But it's just like, and that's kind of the thing, is that the difference between kind of the underdog and the victim is that they're actually doing something. It's like the victim may say a lot of things, or nothing at all, depending on how it's happened, but the underdog is actually doing something about it. And this kind of has to do, at least in the mindset, of where they place power and control. And there might be a bit of sound, which I actually don't really have control out here. So, again, there are things within our control and things that are without our control. So yeah, I'm hearing a lot of stuff that's out of my control. But again, sometimes we give every possible thing we could have power over or control over to someone else, or like over to fate or something. And there's even that thing of, it almost sounds like they're having a rally at an intersection. So I don't know what's going on there. But, so this might be a bit off topic for the video, but hey, this is happening. But anyway, the thing is that with, like, even there's the thing of who's living rent-free in someone's head. And we say that comment all the time, and it's like, you have these people who are like so obsessed with this one person and what they either think of them or what they might be doing, and it's like their every waking thought or even sleeping thought is devoted to this person, whereas this person probably doesn't have a care about them in the world. And it's like, you're letting this one person basically mess with your life, and they are just living theirs. It's kind of amazing. Yet the other thing about the underdog is that while they realize they may not have all the power or the control over things, they're like, I can do this, I can do that, and I can keep doing this, and someday I may be able to do that. But yet the difference is that takes responsibility. And that's the thing, is that even though the Spider-Man trope so often quoted is, with great power comes great responsibility, it's often the responsibility that comes before the power. And yet, since a lot of people could care less about the responsibility, they often want the power, they may end up advocating both in favor of just letting fate decide, or however it goes. And then when you're kind of powerless and to do anything, it kind of leads to a breakdown at some point. I mean, how long can you go thinking you're powerless to do anything in this life, or to make a choice, that everything is up to someone else or to some weird thing, before it just kind of breaks you down? I mean, and also the fact that a lot of people who feel they have no control over may start lashing out, and then we kind of have a more different viewpoint of people's breakdowns, especially now with the internet, in that people will actually record them. Sometimes the people will actually record themselves having a breakdown, even though they might not think that's a breakdown at the time. But again, that's a perspective-based thing. And on the other hand, we have the breakthrough. And then the breakthroughs may happen, and sometimes breakthroughs can start up beginning out looking a lot like a breakdown. But and other times it may just come through the day. It's like sometimes you're just working on something, or you're studying something, and then suddenly everything just clicks. You finally understand the topic you were studying. You finally understand, wait a minute, that's how things are supposed to work, or that's how I can connect this and this, or that's how I can solve that problem. And sometimes it's all, but oftentimes it is the darkest before the dawn when the breakthrough happens. It's like almost on the other side, it's like just a few inches more, and sometimes you can't see the few inches more, but it's still there. And one of the things that has been hammered into me just due to growing up in the ministry is the power of the testimony. And so this happens is that when one person breaks through, others start to as well, or they start to see it as possible. It's like, because this happened to that person, it can also happen to me, or because that person did that, I can do that. And it's just kind of amazing, because it's just kind of, that's kind of what is good about inspirational stories, and even just these cheesy romance stories, is that it's kind of like, it gives that feeling of possibility. Of course, sometimes we put all these things of it happening exactly as we want it, rather than it just being possibility. But again, it's like just dwelling in the possibility can change so much. I mean, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good. Hope keeps us afloat. And the other thing about the underdog is that all of us, except maybe the most prideful or oblivious people, have felt small at some point. So we end up relating to the underdog. And it's a natural relation almost. It's like we can see themselves, we can relate with them, we can empathize with them. And so when we see one win, or even to just stand up, it gives us just a bit of a push to stand ourselves. And again, like the scripture says, having done all to stand, stand. And sometimes it's that stand that is what matters. It's the, like, not giving up till you see the breakthrough. That is what it takes. Of course, sometimes there is a point where you have to be, where it's like wisdom and discernment to decide, okay, this, I may actually be in the wrong forest, so I may need to go over there. But sometimes it is, the wisdom says, stand. But that's my viewpoint. So what do you think about this topic of underdogs and the victim mindset? Let me know in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. And if you like these kinds of videos, please like and subscribe to support the growth of this channel. And I'll talk to you later, and have a great rest of your day.